afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of Reich, Defender of the Fatherland, with all fields an exciting 1 versus 1. On Holotny Ferme, between in the west, we've got Talisman fighting for Germany. Deutschland taking on the role here of the 2nd Panzer Division up versus in the east we got Wolli, Wombat and the 5th Infantry Division with Heavy Cavalry, Rifle Company and Airborne Company versus Talisman's Festung Armour, Mechanized Assault and Lightning Wall, Bulletins for Infantry, Tanks, Snipers and Grenades. Wolli Wombat with a conventional rifleman start there versus Talisman's Pioneer, MD-42 and Grenadiers, also pretty much strikingly conventional. We got a bit of early barbed wire here from Wolli Wombat, trying to deny particular routes and sort of movement, also cover to his Teutonic opponent, already not particularly barreling down towards him, but could be any moment. There could be Fritzes storming down the middle road, but so far they're more occupied heading northwards towards the fuel and securing, of course, vital resources for das Vaterland's glorious armies. Second round squad there running for Wolli Wombat. So far now the players sort of playing big. They were going for an early doctrine. And neither's going to really benefit vastly. I mean, Talisman could in theory go for mechanized assault, get out some assault grenadiers, but I think there's going to be a bit of a limit of how much usefulness he can get out of there. That leaves Lightning Wall or Festung Armour, and depending on what he goes for, I mean, either's going to be better for him. Wolli Wombat, well, everyone works there in a sense. You could go for early flamethrowers, early mines, actually getting mines, or just plan a bit further ahead. There was machine guns, paratroopers, pathfinders, and anti-tank guns from above. Third rifle squad there running for Wolli Wombat. Talisman looks like he's going for a sniper here, a sharpshooter, to bleed out to his Americans from afar. Rather than taking up position opening up the Grenadiers. Slightly awkward position, and the Grenadiers have to leave are quick to fall back. MD-42 setting up here to defend the area around this point, making it a bit harder for Wolli Wombat to rush for here, though of course he can still take a very long circuitous path and sort of go for the fuel point that way, but still the enemy fortress in this building can actually cover a surprisingly large amount of ground. There you go, riflemen in, they're going to try and probably cut for it, but they're going before 2 quick turns. Grenadiers inside here pretty much mean there's no way they can just sneak past, and there you go, MD-42 opens up, rifleman caught there, and Sergeant Powers orders the unit to pull back. Through the south there we got riflemen sneaking in, we got more units grabbing territory there, and we got the sniper out here for Talisman for the Wehrmacht. Back at base, grenades on the way here for Wolli Wombat pretty early on. Opens up, of course, for grenades, but also smoke, which could, of course, be utilised to sort of, negate the MD-42 there in the building if he wants to, or perhaps the Grenadiers here. We'll, of course, have to see how this actually evolves. Talisman with more Grenadiers on the way, a bit more infantry. Northern victory point secured, so right there, Talisman does have a bit of a slight VP lead over him, and there you go, snipers up, hiding under the roof. Ground level is for infantrymen, yeah. And there we go, rifle flanking there, catching the Grenadiers in a pretty nasty crossfire. The sniper there could also be in a lot of trouble here. Quickly falling back, Grenadiers basically blocking the way they're allowing the snipers to fall back. Before the rifle just jump over and use the building. But the Grenadiers will have to fall back pretty soon. There go, grenade off, and doubles back in there, but right there, Talisman might be pushing his light, they're low on health. Retreat path is close to being cut off as well, though of course got the sniper, got more Grenadiers moving in, we got an ambulance on the way there for him. And there you go, retreating, but does not have grenades, although he tried popping on retreat, though it is quite the feat. In the end, the sniper though saves the day somewhat, leaving a pile of broken American corpses right around the fence. And Jimmy was quickly finished off by some Grenadiers. Shouldn't we offer him, first aid and take him prisoner? Do you want to go out there and do this, Dieter? Nein. Shut up and shoot him. Grenadiers, mortar on the way, so no immediate check up there for Talisman, going for heavy tier 1, and we got doctrinal choice there for Wolli Wombat. It is a rifle company, opening up for flamethrowers initially, sprints a bit further on, and of course EC8s by the end. Well, not technically by then, but as soon as he hits C, he can get them. Plus, of course, flares and white phosphorus. Ever nasty. Shifting a bit away from the centre. Heading towards the north, where perhaps he's feeling he can get more success against the Krauts. No M2 flamethrowers down the way for the riflemen. Points there being grabbed by Grenadier, and there we go, tag up for Talisman. Not taking too long there in tier 1 either, but still reasonably heavy tier 1. So it seems like Wolli Wombat. He's going for the captain, in which case Talisman's not going to be punished hard. Heading on then, gone for the lieutenant, rushed out on M20 on A half track. Talisman could have been a bit further trouble there, but if your opponent is going for the captain, a heavy tier 1 will not hurt you quite nearly as much. There we go, got flamethrowers, got Rifleman hit there, and there we go, laying down the smoke screen first. Good work, good work. Get moving now. Tempo, tempo. Light up those boots, men. So there we go, one rifle squad actually acts, I think, as sort of a diversion, allowing the other ones to close up. Flamethrowers and grenades, though I want to get a bit closer there. There we go, grenade first off. Flamethrower still doing nothing. Of course, we can't try and attack ground. We also got minesweepers in there going before 2 push back. Rear's making for the building. Pioneers from the rear for the flamethrower, and they're going before 2 push back. He successfully gained the north somewhat. Though, of course, still got the mortar. Captain arrives there. Full body Wombat. Pioneers out in the open versus flamethrowers and rifles taking heavy casualties. Rather than in a bit of an awkward position, mortars firing away. Grenadiers hanging back. And Sniper further pulling back as well there, as now Wolli Wombat is threatening pretty aggressively ahead. They should probably go for the cut-off point as well. Deny Talisman his fuel access as quickly as possible. But at the same time, we are seeing Grenadiers being shifted down south there. Choraz, good work there by Talisman. Mortars being pushed back. We've got more grenades that are being flung liberally by Wolli Wombat and his crowd opponent. Captain moving ahead, not trying to say wait back and say, for example, rush out the steward once he's got the resources. Could also be planning here for a pack howitzer, obviously, though he could also rush that force with the captain, rather than taking heavy damage. Mortar and grenadier fires coming apart there, just as little cover. Reasons there could still go for the car point. Captain moving up, a bit lacking there to do with that. And we got the light to make a nice company up here for Talisman, adding some lighter vehicles here. And Captain caught in a pretty bad position. Sniper and a machine gun fire leaves them in a very, very sore spot, forcing them to retreat. And reasons they're finally getting a move on again. Pack out on life for Wolli Wombat, so adding some light artillery there to deal with the crowds. Here we go, like to make a nice company up. He's quickly going for the Pack 40, seeing the captain. Obviously, Talisman is worried about the Steward light tank, in which case the Pack 40 tends to be a very sort of good measure for dealing with it. And we got Wolli Wombat there going for the fuel point. Of course, he could have gone for the car point first, which probably much ensured that he wouldn't get resources while taking it, but oh well. So now they're getting a hit there. Larry stumbles over.
The territory is out of contact.
And at the same time, looks like Talisman's there we go, going to go for the fuel point unattended. Most of Wolli Wombat's forces are back at the base currently, and they're just waiting there. Perhaps it's sort of preparing for another large push. But at the same time, that pretty much means all map control is handed over there to Talisman and the Wehrmacht. Oh, he's actually gone for weapon rack. He's actually adding bazookas here, so both sides are to an extent worried about enemy armor and vehicles. So they're actually adding in a bunch of weapons there. Interesting, interesting. You got 2 bazookas there, just one there. Briefly saw that as a rifle squad with a bazooka as well, but that's obviously just the captain with 2 bazookas. Still, that is all in all 3 bazookas. It's not going to stop a Tiger, but it might cause lighter vehicles and even a Panzer IV to be a bit more cautious. Right there, Talisman is striking back for Das Vaterland. It's a Third Reich, and there we go, it's being hunted down there by a lot of angry Americans. Looks like they will manage to escape. Well, most of them will manage to escape there, except Otto and Fritz, who gave their lives for the fatherland. They were heroes. And that's one way of dealing with the sniper as well. You basically just lay down the smoke screen. Sniper can't do anything through that. No attack ground, no nothing. That is definitely one way of doing it. So, of course, the question is, will you actually go for a Steward light tank to add a bit of armor there versus Talisman, or is he going to try and go straight for the Major and that way rush straight for... No, they got a Steward on the way. I was about to say rush straight for an EC8, but he's not quite going there. He's instead getting the Steward light tank out first. Bit of lightest panzer. Meanwhile, we got to take a bit as well for Talisman, going for some medium armor himself soon. Sniper getting off another kill. Another American dead on the ground. Now the smoke screen. Mortar fire raining down. Wolli Wombat is certainly furthering his smoke screen usage. Rarely actually see smoke screen being used to sort of counter snipers like that, though his men are a bit beaten up there. I do think moving about like that is a bit risky, but still he's got some distance there. We're going one rifle squad, basically acts as the distraction, lining the rifleman up there with a grenade. Scheiße! Granate! Ooh. Mortar wipe there, though the riflemen are taking some severe punishment. Very close, they're very close. Campani is firing out for the church. Captain rifle covering up, and the rifle actually retreating as well. Pack out are firing away there at the church. A lot of fire going in there. The rear echelons, which could have helped there, are all the way down south. But there we go. Steward light tank to the rescue. Additional pioneers on the way for Never mind, it's not to the rescue, it's to deal with the Germans up north.
Has arrived.
Oh, or perhaps it is to the rescue. All the way now, Wolli Wombat has an arm advantage, though however light and however small, it's still there. So that does give him a bit to work with there versus Talisman, who's only got a pack 40. Sort of deal with it for the time being.
To steal our sector.
As yet to recruit the Granatenwerfer. There we go, I imagine the pioneers will be utilised for that. So that Talisman won't fall back there in the artillery race, otherwise I mean that could quickly turn advantageous for Wolli Wombat. Another barrage there. Still moving forward. Trying to actually catch the sniper there with the pack house, that's pretty bold. Using the building here to of course avoid the pack 40, they need to be close, careful there. A bit too closer to the Grenadiers, could result in a Panzerfaust, which is not very good for the crew's health. Troops are reinforcing. Also a fun fact about the Panzerfaust, there's sort of several types throughout the war. The initial ones didn't quite have as much penetration or range, but of course as the war progressed, you just getting more and more of that. In fact, I think the final Panzerfaust, I don't think I actually saw much production, if any, was actually sort of designed to be sort of more like the Panzer. They could just reload and then fire rather than just being the one use that had usually been. Also, quite a few millions were made of them by the end of the war. And on top of that, another fun fact is the Russians actually captured a few millions of them and actually used them, but primarily I think for knocking out bunkers and such, not for knocking out armour, which is actually a bit interesting. But we got a support macro up there for Talisman. Packouts are firing away, pushing northwards over the aviations with the minesweepers, not bad. Beyond that, a bit quiet here. Both sides seem to be sizing up the other one, not making any sort of greater commitments there. Just a bit of light shooting and some harassment. Stuart supporting the rear echelons, Grenadiers supporting the pioneers down south. Bit of a difference there. Or is he actually looking to flank in with the Stuart light tank, hit him from the north, perhaps get behind him? That would be pretty aggressive and pretty bold. And machine gun team actually got wiped out, forcing time to rebuild, but at the same time that's really giving here Wolli Wombat some more time to do what he wants. But there goes Stuart round from the pack 40. Ooh, like beyond the arc of fire there. Damn close, Captain moving up. Stuart needs to keep moving, keep moving. Ooh, no, drives right in front of the pack 40. What are you doing, Johnny? No, gets past it. But then again, up close, I mean, the arc of fire isn't really big, so obviously. But still, damn close. They could look a bit ugly there. No, he drives in front of him again, and this time close. Why didn't he try to knock it up close before? Trying around like that. Got lucky here that Talisman actually decided not to just move it about there, allowing the Stuart to escape there. That was some high-stakes fighting. Rather than having cut down the pioneers, got BARs up for them, so that's another loss there for Talisman. Grenadiers there with light machine guns. No doctrine as of yet for Talisman and the Wehrmacht. And no sign of armour, though he's probably looking for the Panzer IV, at least initially. Troops making their way back to base here, reinforcing, healing up. But at the same time, though, Wolli Wombat has been forced to get a bit of territory for the meanwhile, even though he's gotten some kills there in on Talisman and the Krauts he commands. Pioneers MG42 moving ahead, still ready to halt them with its 30mm gun and its machine guns. Shooting there, and I think Wolli Wombat is actually taking up. There we go, going straight to the battalion command post. No lieutenant are hanging about there, just straight for the tanks. And there you go, denying Talisman his fuel point again. Wolli Wombat keeps up the pressure there versus Talisman. Could consider getting out Panzer IV just in a few moments. He might also consider augmenting his troops later down the road with some Panzer Grenadier. But there you go, Panzer IV on the way. A bit more of a sizable threat there to Wolli Wombat's light tank, which isn't quite, you know, built for taking on a tank. Oh, we got a flamethrower there drop, but no one's picking it up. You'll pick it up. No, you'll pick it up. God damn it, I'll pick it up. Cowards. But so, Wolli Wombat, of course, now adding BARs to his men as well, increasing the firepower he can actually bring to bear versus Talisman. Not bad at all, though it looks like he actually lost a rifle squad somewhere, particularly the one with the bazooka. So he does have a little less anti-tank, though of course he's brought him an anti-tank and sort of make up for that, so that's not all bad. Panzer IV almost done, victory points whilst the Wolli Wombat is behind. Bit worrisome there, Panzer IV almost done there for Talisman. Panzerkampfwagen 4, die Flexbereit. Smoke screen down again to avoid instant movement there. He also, I think he's actually using his pack out to lay down a white phosphorus barrage. Very nice. That doesn't do much, but still prevents Talisman from moving about in the area there, unless, of course, he wants a face full of white phosphorus, which you do not want. Panzer 4 rolls ahead, strange heavy things, so you need to be careful. Marxism anti-tank rifle against the Panzer tank is moving up, but so far too far removed. Quick Panzer Horse against the Stuart. Anti-tank shoots against the Panzer 4. Panzer 4 shoots against the Stuart. Hits. Penetrates versus the anti-tank. Oh, there we go. Penetrating hit here from the 57mm. No anti-tank rifle hit there off from Wolli Wombat, but that's because he doesn't have the munitions for it. I imagine he might also use the armor-piercing rounds on his anti-tank gun there. But still, overall, he's managed to push back against Talisman across the map. There we got the Major moving about in the north, though he is going to lose against the Pioneers. Much more hardened infantry, and more importantly, with a flamethrower and larger numbers. Now there's nothing left of the wooden fence there except, well, splinters. And before jolting up there, pushing back the Majors while he's assisting in it. Back here, not much further. Wolli Wombat, I imagine, is just trying to save it right now for the EC8. And Talisman has yet to actually go for a doctrine, he's yet to display any sort of proclivity towards anything. Anti-tank and crew died. Still moving ahead, 3S and supporting. As the Croucher fills back, and there we go, pack out of flies. More fence destroyed alongside poor Fritz.
Ready for orders.
And what will Talisman consider getting? Yes, he's got plenty of manpower, so Panzer Grenadiers would be an option. He's in fact short on infantry, so they would be a pretty good option, I think. Also, Doctrine, I think, would benefit Talisman quite a bit there. But no, he's just getting more Grenadiers. No consideration for the noble Panzer Grenadier. Oh, we also know the ammunitions cache for Wolli Wombat, ensuring more munitions for, well, abilities. So overall, not bad. Not bad at all. Infantry supported push there with the Stuart. And he's actually going for a Scott first. That's a bit of a surprise. They're considering there's a Panzer 4 on the field. He's going for the Scott first. I mean, I think you should wait for the EC8 first. Then get a Scott. I think that would be overall a better combo there for Wolli Wombat. Nothing to do about that. Mortars, panzers, packs, sniper sword moving towards here to sort of repulse the next assault there from Wolli Wombat, but looks like there might have even been a diversion. Getting ready to strike somewhere else instead. 30 kills almost victory there for the sniper. Not bad at all. Still moving in, rolling ahead for America. And pouncing on some poor unfortunate Pioneers out in the open. Driving straight to the smoke right in front of the Panzer 4. Looks like they barely avoided it. Captain Rifle moving in there. Still need to be careful now to tank and those ready to support as well. Panzer 4 catching into a lot of trouble. Bazooka shots there. Stun it. And the tank needs to set up. Nope, nothing of that happening. Penetrating hit. Damage. Less than half health here. Bad situation. Rifleman getting cut apart here though with Panzer 4. Sniper fire grenade off on the mortar. Rifleman wiped a huge loss there to Wolli Wombat. He's actually losing quite a bit of infantry. He needs to replace some of those losses, to be honest. He's got the Scott out, but one rifle squad is not particularly good there for Wolli Wombat. Mortar crew that got wiped, captaining up here trying to get the Panzer 4. We got sniper and machine gun fight, cutting apart the captain's men. In fact, the captain dies first, leading by example into the gates of hell. Stood moving up here, flanking right past the Pack 40 and the machine gun. Might try and run straight for it. Pack out firing down as well here. Might consider using some white phosphorus to support here to clear out some of the elements. Still taking out hit. They need to fall back. Snipers almost dead. Whew. Sliver of health. Tiniest sliver of health there left. Damn close. Scott continues to bombard there. Which actually means he's got the notable artillery advantage there over his opponent now. 275 mm guns. They're just slightly different mountings, if you will. Driving their close, getting wiped out. Oh dear! He really needs to replace that infantry. And he's about to lose his Stuart there, fear. Anti-tank is setting up though. And Stuart went out, Telemine! Nicely set up there by Talisman. Missed that, but completely wrecks the Stuart, leaving him behind now with only the Scott there. Panzer Grenadier now arriving for Talisman. There you go. Wolli Wombat finally getting some more riflemen. And he should upgrade them with as many BARs as soon as he can. He's got the munitions for it, so the more BARs he can bring to bear versus the Crouch, the better. Talisman, I really think, needs to choose a doctrine by now. festering armor perhaps, but I do think to a certain extent lightning bolt would work quite nicely. It's a lot more versatile, though of course doesn't quite have the same defensive punch, but you know, infantry abilities, a bit of big tanks, of course some still close air support, as long as you use it properly, never hurts.
Gun ready. Gather round. All right, you guys. Make ready. Reinforcements.
There you go, Panzergrenadier arriving, some of the more hardened men of the 2nd Panzer Division. Rather than Major setting out, Scott hanging back, and there you go bombarding. Grenadiers under fire.
Overrunning one of our capture points.
Packards are laying down a murderous batch as well. Mortars not in the crew there by Talisman. Yet, anyways. Note the positioning of the Panzer was repairing is basically setting up far here, but not the base as well. So, basically using the surrounding environment for cover against artillery. Not a bad idea. Captain a bit of trouble, they cut down by sniper and MD5, the Grenadiers not helping the situation.
Troop ready.
Grenadiers they're out in the open, taking fire there. From all the artillery here that Wolli Wombat can muster. Down south, Grenadiers versus Riflemen. Easy 8 fine on the way there for Wolli Wombat, a bit of armour support. But we got another Panzer fall on the way for Talisman. Grenadiers a bit of trouble, we got major grenades going left and right there against each other.
Krauts have cut our supply line. Frontline units are being hung out to dry.
North a bit of harassment as well, the Panzer Grenadiers leading the effort there. Riflemen being pushed back here by the Grenadiers, the Flammenwerfer and light machine gun going to be a rather potent combo. But of course an EC8 might be able to turn that around. Trying to catch the Grenadiers there with the Scott, but not quite succeeding. Panzer pushing southwards, Grenadiers under fire again, and there we go, EC8 rolling down southwards, 50 caliber on the way. Grenadiers in trouble. Put it mildly, and there we go, 2nd Panzerkampfwagen 4 arrives for Talisman, Deutschland. And there we go, EC8 versus Panzer 4. The EC8 in this case is quite considerably outgunned. Still gets a penetrating hit there on the EC8 before pulling back. Probably to get repaired and then join up with the other Panzer IV. Right moving to the centre, getting cut down there by sniper 5 veterans defeat and double Panzer Force. Not a good situation, now to tank and to there nearby. Need to be careful, the captain moving out as well. Right moving ahead, careful, oh, he's going to grenade it, Wolli. Oh, Wolli Wombat. I think you're pushing your luck there. Or not. And to tank turning up, there goes shot fired at the Panzer IV, taking down to half health. Scott firing in as well, EC8 here nearby as well. Almost got the sniper again. Panzer IV challenge range the anti-tank gun. Veterans you one up, use say game, increases line of fire and range, could get the Panzer IV before it escaped successfully. But still allowed to there, had he gone for it, I think he would actually gotten it. Still both Panzer IVs are now in a terrible condition. MD4 being pushed back, Pack 40 in a bad position as well, we got artillery supporting it, so Wolli Wombat here secures the centre now for America. Won't take aim, he can probably still snipe the anti-tank gun there from where the Panzer where it stands, so he uses take aim. Remember, increases range and line of sight. It's a really powerful. There he goes, steals a Pack 40. Panzer IV, they're under fire. And quickly pulled back the pioneers rush forward to deal with the interlopers, the threat to the Wehrmacht's Panzerwaffe. Up north, we got Americans successfully pushing forward to the Major, making a major coup on the victory point there. There still is a struggle for Wolli Wombat to hold it. I do think he still needs more infantry, more GIs. Another unit died somewhere. Getting some re-echelons perhaps. Either way, they are dead. They are deader than dead. They are super dead. Still no sign of a doctrine there though from Talisman. It's time here for the mid-game analysis in terms of damage. Wolli Wombat is ahead in terms of kills, so Talisman's ahead. The other sniper I think has a larger role in that. Of course the rest of the units certainly played a part there. So somewhat equal in terms of army value. Wolli Wombat, in fact, he's been rather ahead, in particular at some points they're further than Talisman, so it's a bit worrisome there. In terms of points held up, Talisman's been holding on, but now Wolli Wombat is sort of turning the tide there more to his advantage. So right now, Talisman, I think, is a bit in a bad spot. He's been able to keep up the bleed, but that's about it really that Talisman's really been able to do. He's got 2 Panzer IVs, and I think it's going to come down to how probably he can use them versus Wolli Wombat. I mean, a proper armoured assault there, perhaps supported by Strook, could do a lot of damage there to Wolli Wombat, negate his EZ8, and also bleed out a lot of infantry. So proper assault there, I think, sort of trying to swing through the north here, trying to go through here, and then perhaps sort of use this route to get past and behind Wolli Wombat, I think could do a lot of damage. if he can do it with enough speed. Perhaps splitting up his panzers, so one base sort of splits in there, draws the attention there to tank gun, then once they turn to deal with that, he then attacks from the front with a bunch of infantry. That is one option. Otherwise you can try and sort of go through the south, or perhaps, pincer with one Panzer IV tank from the north, one from the south, perhaps, joining in here with some lightning wall, some tactical movement to sort of launch an assault with infantry then from the front as they then occupy with the penetrating Panzer IVs. There are a few options there for Talisman overall to sort of consider, but I think he does need to consider that. And otherwise, try to defend the fuel point and perhaps some more mines in the northern area, I think would do him quite well. But overall, he's bleeding out Wolli Wombat quite nicely in that sense. That's not bad at all. And of course, Wolli Wombat, one of his major priorities ought to be defending the victory points and holding them. A few fighting positions, I think, could do him quite a bit of good, in particular here, and perhaps around the centre would make it a lot harder for Talisman just take them back east. Is I think something Wolli Wombat should consider very strongly. A bit more infantry, I think, would also benefit him quite nicely. I think 2 riflemen is a bit too little there, as the Americans, in particular, get some BARs for them. He would really have a strong hand then versus Talisman. But beyond that, not so much else to say. Should probably consider getting himself an EC8 more as soon as possible, and that way strike back at Talisman even further. Try to seek out the panzers and knock them out, and of course remember to use his abilities on his anti-tank gun. In particular, Tay game is a really potent one, and definitely not one of those I think you should ignore. So, let's return to the fight and see what happens next.
Capture complete. Area secure.
Firing away.
Gun troop ready.
Bombarding, hoping to kill something. So far the Scot has been so lucky. That can be a bit of a problem with Scot at times. Sometimes he just performs super well, and other times he just doesn't much. Though of course as soon as hit virtually 2, it becomes much more reliable and a lot more lethal. So it's a bit of a tricky thing there. Sniper under fire from artillery. The sniper pushed back, keeping and maintaining control of the centre, but still, he's not so much in map control of the sort of the northern or southern victory points there, Mr. Wolli Wombat, so that's something you need to be careful of, to be mindful of. Stug on the way there for Talisman, Sturmgeschütz, getting something there to augment the Panzer Force, and by late 1944-45, it was actually not uncommon to see Panzer battalions being mixed with Panzer Force and Stugs, actually. Since by that point, in fact, I think late 1944, they'd lost their 3rd battalion, which was actually supposed to be a Stug battalion, simply due to production issues not being enough, and well, so Führer kept making Panzer brigades and new Panzer divisions, so there's enough trouble making them all go around, so they had to sort of make those things there. Panthers, on the other hand, I think stayed pretty much staying until the very, very late stage of the war, and that's mostly due to logistics being completely mucked up. Rather than taking heavy damage from the Panzer IV, almost done there for Talisman. Rather than sneaking through the south, a bit more pressure there, anti-tanking all the way back. He could continue setting up a 4th position there with a major, ensuring he doesn't have to retreat too far back. That would also be quite helpful for him. But there you go, Sturmgeschütz arrives for das Vaterland. MD-42 Panzer Grenadiers now moving ahead here. Quite a bit of force there for Talisman trying to break through, though of course has to be mindful. He's attacking straight forward into a lot of artillery. We've got White Phosphorus being called down straight on the MD-42 Grenadiers marching ahead as well. Sniper, Panzer Grenadiers rushing ahead there. Scott misses. He's hit them moving up as well. Pack out to 5 misses. There you go. Scott gets off a hit there. Wipes half the Panzer Grenadier squad. Forcing them to retreat right through the White Phosphorus. Now pulling back as well. Panzer IV, Stugs rolling through here. We got another EC8 on the way there for Wolli Wombat. Looks like the armor fight is about to get much more. Almost wiped. And there you go. EC8 getting hit there on the rear. First shot bounces for the Stug. Gets a penetrating hit there. Chance of frontal armor good. Should consider the smoke screen there versus the armor, but none going off there. He might actually lose these here. No, bounces. Scott rushing forward, pack 40, center tank and supporting. You can get armor piercing rounds there and take in. Good work. Panther 4 down to half health. I think he's sacrificing the Scott though, just to try and, get the Panzer 4 actually save the easy way though. He did get the Panzer 4. I'm not so sure that's intentional, but in terms of trade-off, it's not bad, but not really good either. The Stug's been forced back as well. He's soon got another EC8. He's quickly losing control of the northern points. We've got Grenadiers and Pioneers moving in, though he's still keeping that harassment there. And overall, now seeing that Wolli Wombat's got most of the map, that way smothering Talisman slowly. We actually seen Talisman's getting another mortar. He hasn't considered recruiting the one he already has. Maybe spending the manpower on something else instead. Bit dangerous there, I think, for Talisman. But of course, we get 2 mortars up and going. He have a decent mortar battery.
Mortar crew has arrived.
And of course now Wolli Wombat's just down to single pack howitzer, though this veteran to 2. which does give him access to improved explosive barrages, which works quite well versus armor now. A lot more damage.
Looks like we're getting into the excitement.
Easy and ready, Wolli Wombat. I think good considering he got a fuel case as well. Besides the munitions case, until he gets more fuel as well.
Capture point is under
I think
attack.
he would benefit quite nicely from that. That's on top of everything, but we'll see. Well, he does. Rifle suppressed here by the MB-42s and whatnot. Going for the CoH one again. Easy striking in from the north. Caps are getting plastered with fire there from the Panthers and the machine guns. Pioneers charging from the centre into another ECA.
Enemy forces now have 300 points remaining.
North Pioneers are taking damage, still 50 cover down that Sherman. White phosphorus raining down there around the MD-42. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Good work there. Rather repeated use of white phosphorus. Nice to see, nice to see. A bit of an ignored ability, I think. Doing quite a bit of nasty damage. Waterfire almost wipes the rifleman. He actually sprinted. He sprinted. That's the first time I think you've seen someone actually sprint or fire up. But you can see there, if you time it incorrectly, it will also affect your retreat. So it has to be used properly there. And the thing is actually doing try and catch us now. In this case, it backfired on poor Wolli Wombat. It's sad about that. There you go. Target weak point for the Stug. Showing the EC8 can't shoot. Still got one there moving in, flanking in. Needs to stop it. Needs to stop it. Scheiße. Panther 4 trying to block the path there. Stug firing nice. Sherman there needs to fall back, taking heavy damage there from the Stugs and the Panzers. Still, he's managed to control the map, then maintain some, though. He's get back the victory point and they keep up the bleed versus Talisman and need to get some more armor out. And that EC8 needs to be repaired. I mean, Veteran 2 is pretty damn good, and with the Veteran 1 bonus, it fires rather fast, actually. That's definitely not something to be taken lightly. Panzer was moving forward, anti-tank fire again. He's using white phosphorus, I think, just blocked the path of movement there for Talisman, forcing him to take longer routes if he wants to move towards center, which means here or there. It also makes it harder for him to just easily move up. There again, he still forces it through himself. Risky there. Wolli Wombat is once more short in infantry. Needs to be careful there. Perhaps some improved infantry preservation might be the idea there for Wolli Wombat in the longer term. Oh, he's getting a regular Sherman now. Nice, he's really getting a lot of armor there for the 5th Infantry. Packhouse raining down death. EC8 moving in, gets a hit. Almost mentions one sniper. MD-42 firing away. Half track on the way for Talisman. Half track, interesting. Mid-plus shoots and Panzer Wagner now of all times. And there you go, both Germans now with Veterans U1 there.
Tank support is here.
Rather high rate of fire. Or his Veterans U3 getting rate of fire. He's just Veterans U3 rate of accuracy. But there you go, White Phosphorus bounce down, Stug firing away. Doing a lot of damage halfway to Veterans U3. And we got the 251 half track out for Talisman. They did support the infantry and maybe sort of help him push a bit further forwards without having to constantly pull back for retreats. That's actually a pretty good decision. Pack 40 could do with being recruited. He's actually stolen the mortar from Talisman. Good work there. So now he's back in sort of having an artillery advantage over Talisman, but he still needs to be worried about the victory points, and he still needs to do something about the infantry, which is a rather common weak spot there for Wolli Wombat. Up north, Major versus Grenadiers.
Capture point.
Sherman moving in. A lot of mortar fire. Sherman's getting ready for another push for America, while the regular one just sort of pushes about there. Striking at the Krauts. There we go, pushing forwards, keeping them together to keep their bonus. Very good, very good. Pioneers and troubleshoot, tank cover. There you go, another target weak point. Wunderbar, wunderbar. Good shooting, Otto. You do Deutschland proud. Panther 4, they're trying to hold the assault as well. Veterans E2, EC8's getting a bit clogged up there again. Target weak point, very good on the Stug. More or less 10 seconds where the tank can't shoot. And this is pretty much, I think, breaking up Wolli Wombat's assault since he can't push through. Stug, they're very close to victory. 3 shots flying away, bouncing away. Tanks pulling back up north. Victory point, they're being grabbed by the Grenadiers. Half track is they're not doing too much so far for Talisman, though. I mean, if it's just holding back the base, it's pretty much wasted. Though, of course, he were to sort of pop some troops into the quickly rush forward for something. Oh, it just looks like it's repairing. Also needs to repair his Panther 4, his Panzerkampfwagen 4. Another anti-tank out there for Talisman. Another Panzerabwehrkanone. Keeping up the bleed versus Wolli Wombat there. And overall, I think you should try and just give it up and try attacking from the centre. I mean, basically, Wolli Wombat is prepared for that. You can try and hit him here or there, where he's going to be a lot less prepared and might also make more mistakes than when he sort of rushes to deal with that. He's actually getting more Shermans. Look, cancel it, cancel it. Still, he's also very short on infantry. Still think he needs something about. And again, Talisman goes for the centre, exposing his panzer grenadiers to an insane amount of firepower there from the Americans. Grenades, mortars, tanks, all manner of things. And they're close game up, but they're going for supporting. Stu, Panzer IV moving ahead. They're both with Schützen up. Anti-tank setting up. There go Vetch, too close again. Vetch infantry, which is going to make that anti-tank gun absolutely mean. White phosphorus running down over the area. Again, he's just really keeping up with the white phosphorus, making it harder for Talisman to move out in the area there with his infantry. Not bad at all, not bad at all. Up north, Talisman to deal with the reactions. They're going for the point there, pushing forward in the centre. Wolli Wombat needs to keep in mind those victory points. One mistake, they could very quickly result in a defeat for him if he's not careful. You see it's moving ahead. Head-on assault there against Talisman. White phosphorus lay down an even thicker barrage against Talisman and the second Panther. They go. He split up his tanks, allowing Talisman there to deal with one in quite easy seclusion. Bad move there, bad move there. There we go. Target weak point. Veterans in fleet for the Sturmgeschütz. An ace, and there we go. Sherman cooked up. The crew burning horribly. Grenadiers down south, they're taking heavy damage as well, almost getting wiped out. And annihilated. Another easy on the way there. Things are not looking good for Talisman. He's still got the veteran armour, but he's got the veteran defeats too, which is probably his best chance of salvation at the moment. He's also gone for lightning war, but so far there's little sort of appearing out of it. Still, he got one tank because, well, Wolli Wombat rather I think made a big mistake there with that tank. Half-track still not doing anything. Come on, Talisman, utilise it to support your infantry, to support your attacks, or at least flank somehow using infantry. Stuck moving about for Deutschland. ECH flanking there from the North Grenadiers in a bit of trouble. Sherman following up. Stuck moving in. Rifleman, Captain opening up there, and Stuck goes in there. Go. Good hit, good hit. Bazooka's flanking. Pull back the Stuck. 9 Talisman! 9! Pack 40 setting up the anti-tank. Oh, Pack 40 got cleared out. Sherman flanking in there. Stuck is not a trouble. Panzer 4 needs to move. Flank. Pack 40 gets it! Stuck barely survives. Panzer 4 that might get knocked out here. Anti-tank recruit. No! Stuck went down! 9! The Stuck is kaputt! Poor Otto. Und Fritz. Und Wilhelm. Still not using the half-track. Come on, Talisman, use to support your infantry. Getting replacements too, that's good, that's good. Wolli Wombat needs to be more careful with his armour engagement. I do think he might be getting what you call overconfident here, cocky. With his armour, and that is allowing Talisman to get in some kills here and there, and that could very quickly bleed him out there, as long as he doesn't keep losing his Stuck for every tank he knocks out. I think Talisman needs to consider being less focused on the centre again, trying to hit the other side from that, the flanks, the wings. He's quickly bleeding out their victory one. Still, he's got a lead over Wolli Wombat there. Still got a lead, but the question, of course, is for how long. Sniper there. 58 kills. Real Stolzen has shown their true hero of Deutschland. Pack 40 there, running, getting another one. Stuck almost down there for Talisman and Das Vaterland. You could probably consider dropping one Pack 40 there, getting Panzer Grenadiers there, and then getting another Stuck. The Welsh now getting off another kill there. That sniper's really been a huge thorn in Wolli Wombat's side there. Trying to sniper at the pack. He's stolen. There we go, gets the sniper. Sniper finally goes down. He was a true hero. Shall be avenged. Lots of American blood. Stuck effectsbereit. Half-track slightly moving a bit further from north here. We got a tank moving in. Good target with the Panzer IV on the Stuck. Quickly knock it out. Wolli Wombat needs to be careful about slinging out his tanks too much. Securing Bazooka there with the Pioneer. Rushing one anti-tank gun. Left exposed. Wolli Wombat could perhaps at this point actually consider going for the platoon command post. Getting out some 50 caliber to help hold territory. Some fighting position at the very least. I mean, he is still struggling with the infantry, and that is giving Talisman, who does have a bit more infantry, not a lot though, but still a bit more, a bit of an advantage. If he knows how to utilise it correctly, of course. Up north there, half-track. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing there with it. He's trying to buy time for the armour to move up, but that was just basically wasted the half-track. I mean, I like the idea of getting a half-track at this point. The problem was he just didn't do anything with it. Had he done with it, I think he'd actually done a lot of damage there to Wolli, but he's actually going in the centre there without infantry. A lot of the support weapons are weak, and the anti-tanks are also weak. So right there, we are seeing Wolli fall back. And there were times where the Americans actually struggled with actually having enough infantry. There was one case during Operation Nordwind where they had so severe infantry shortages with one division they actually had to use engineers and not combat engineers to guard the tanks. Armour cooperation was now one of the bigger things to the American infantry. In fact, a lot of issues throughout the issues, and certainly not for troops not trained for frontline fighting as such, which basically meant the engineers suffered very quickly and the crews abandoned the tanks, handing over a full company of Sherman tanks, by the way, to the Germans. I believe it was the 10th SS, who then proceeded to move them over to the Eastern Front. Fun story there. White Phosphorus against the Granatenwerfer. Still looks like Talisman is sort of pushing back. He's also now using S-mines to defend the points there. Not bad. Down to 74. In fact, he's got all 3 victory points. We've got smoke going down there from Wolli Wombat.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Almost 53 there with the MD-42. And there we go. Veteran 3. Grenadiers moving in. Pack-Carter firing back. Mortar firing in as well. Sniper creeping about. Tanks moving up as well. But was that actually one of his only kill there? No. Wasn't. But briefly close there, go Pack 40 opening up, armour hanging about. Here we got a Sherman moving in from the north, but good risk running straight to against Stug and Panzer 4. Wolli Wombat is now beginning to see some issues here. There you go, Sherman taking heavy damage from the rear, down to less than half health, right from another Pack 40. And the main gun is destroyed. He's trying to smoke it, but gets knocked out there. Was that a mortar that actually did it? Yes! The mortar, I think, actually knocked out the tank. Oh no. Yeah, they were trying to surrender to the Krabs and hand over vital information. Are you sure? Yeah. Capturing it there, Stu. Covering, not doing too much now. Considers the machine gun on top to up as an infantry. Showing about here. Things are looking slightly rough here for Wolli Wombat. Things are falling out of his hands. Speeding out of control, he's quickly getting low then victory points. Pack 45 no victory, 2's got Panzer Grenadiers with Panzer 6 now, cutting up the anti-tank ability. He's still got no machine guns all up the enemy infantry, Grenadiers still half wiped. He's lacking in armour, he's lacking in infantry, there we go, wipe the Grenadiers, though, wipe the Grenadiers. He's got the artillery, but he's still lacking some to hold up the front, there you go. Stug almost knocked up the anti-tank gun, Panzers that wipe the anti-tank gun, the veteran defeat crew is annihilated. Poor Tommy runs off. Tears streaking down his little cheeks. White Phosphorus again. More Grenadiers for Talisman. Pushing the initiative. He's probably feeling he's got a chance of victory now. And Wolli Wombat is just sort of frantically trying to put something together, but he's not entirely sure what to do, it seems. His force composition is beginning to betray him a bit. The lack of infantry, which he's sort of tried to skirt through using armour, but then threw away by using the armour poorly, is, I think, rather beginning to show here. He might still pull through, I suppose, if he can sort of make another good assault here, but it's looking a bit less than likely here. Talisman is keeping up the pressure to a certain extent, though I think he could stand to be more aggressive with his armour and infantry together. Pack 40 cleared out, mortar firing down, almost got the sniper there. Rifle being hit there with a BAR-2. Looks like they do have 2. Mortar half, well, way to veteran to flee. I think Talisman's actually now setting up for the Tiger, setting up there for the big ace. Up his sleeve to strike back. One pro push that can actually, I think, unseat Wolli Wombat completely. I don't think he's going to be prepared for that. Not after losing his veteran defeat anti-tank gun and losing so much else. Pack-Carter firing away there, very close to veteran defeat. Good hit there. Sherman rolling back, he's starting to make control of the victory point. Talisman just keeps hitting them with his infantry over other units. Capturing Russian force, line to line of fire, the infantry covering here violently. Anti-tank and crew annihilated. We got more, we got the Panzer 4 moving in, we got no anti-tank that's nearby to support. You see it moving in, need to be careful though, we got lots of anti-tank on this supporting, Pack 40 firing in, here's smoke going down from the Sherman. Not Not bad, not bad. But he can't utilise it, so it's going to be not so much.
Pioneers awaiting orders.
22 still. Wolli Wombat needs to break this stalemate somehow, otherwise Talisman's soon going to bring in a tug, in which case Wolli Wombat is going to be left in a very, very unpleasant situation. Right, phosphorus raining down. Now the temps are stalling up and making it harder for Talisman to muster for an assault there. I've rarely seen someone make so much use of white phosphorus there about this as Wolli Wombat from his pack howitzer.
Sherman ready to go. Watch for my signal. Ready, set.
Pioneers rushing forward and a tank in a bit of trouble there. Pioneers clearing it up rapidly. And Pioneers wiped. Victory to their game for the Sherman. Small victory there for Wolli Wombat, but still struggled. He's still at 22. Going to bleed down further Talisman a bit. Stu Panther moving ahead. Rather there, having sprinted forward by the way. Not bad, but exhausted still. With the smoke there, should be a bit harder to kill there, and should now be able to safely retreat. Sherman flanking in there, opening up the anti-tank gun. Should probably try and rush past it, so he can't easily turn and get closer to it. He's not, instead he's staying at range there. Oh dear. He's hit moving in, trying to get the Panther Fort veterans. He's free for the Panther Fort. He's hit continuing up though. Panther Faust, Panther, they're flying into the side. Panther moving in, grenading off. Stu turning as well. He's hit a lot of trouble. Could lose it. And out. Hits the front armour. Bounces off it. But there you go. Easy 8. Slim of health. Trying to get away. Gunner is moving up with the Panther Faust. Los Jürgen. Ah, scheiße. There you go. Panther moves in. And there we go. Sherman through down. Looks like Talisman might be able to win this yet, and there we go. Tiger arrives. Well, that, I think, at this point, Wolli Wombat's fate is sealed. He simply, at the moment, I do not think has the force to sort of quickly halted. I mean, he could try and go for a Jackson, but with the amount of victory points he's got left, I'm not entirely sure he could actually hold the Tiger. Might just be able to sort of afford Talisman a broad push that could just hold the victory points for long enough to just bleed out Wolli Wombat. Tiger rolling in, we got the capturing in against Stu. He's flying in from the north, and there you go. Tiger shoots, misses terribly. $16 points left. Will the Tiger break his will, or will Wolli Wombat fight to the very bitterest of ends? Almost got the capture, in fact. And there we go, MD-42 out on top of the Tiger. Right from straight there, getting absolutely pummeled. But once you finally got some more infantry, he gets slashed apart there by the Tiger. 10 points, 7 points, 5, 3, and yeah, that's pretty much GG. There we go, game over. A hard fought victory there by Talisman. Wolli Wombat, I think, managed to pull some really good play there early on, but I think he got a bit overconfident there by the mid-game, and that rather sort of showed into the late game. He should have had more infantry on hand, and I do think he should have worked with his armour more closely together. I mean, separate them, pretty much negated their Veterans 1 bonus, which is one of the best Veterans 1 bonuses in the game, that is high rate of fire on his tanks. And of course also allowed Talisman to sort of focus them down one at a time, so that I think was one bigger mistake there by Wolli Wombat, and then sort of things just slowly piled on as he kept repeating those same mistakes, until by the same time when he finally, I think, realised what was going on, it was too late. Talisman was already pushing forward, and he kept his eye on the ball, the victory points all the time there. Wolli Wombat could have done more to defend them, but he didn't, so that was, I think, another mistake. That means some nice use of the pack house, the white phosphorus, and so on there, but ultimately there were some issues there which I think constantly undercut Wolli Wombat's strategy and tactics. So that's a bit unfortunate there. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gives you DS3 matches. If it did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a replay on, provide some feedback in the comment section. And if you feel like supporting the Propagandacast, do consider it. And if you do want to, there's a link there in the video description. Can do so via PayPal or Patreon, whatever works for you. Every donation helps keep the Propagandacast from, well, keep it making more videos. So do consider if you like it. So this is Imperial Lynching. Cheers, thank you for watching, and hope to see you all another time. Bye.